We're here again live from St. Peter's Square in the heart of Rome. Behind us, the lights have gone on at St. Peter's Basilica. That's where tomorrow onwards from 9 o'clock, Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI will be lying in state. We're expecting thousands of pilgrims to come, especially also from the very moment it is possible to visit him, to pay him a visit, and to also pay a tribute to this great Pope, that they'll be here, that they'll enter St. Peter's Basilica. And of course, EWTN will be reporting live from that. This today is our last update because it's already evening there. We don't expect to have any more news today, but tomorrow we want to be on here again and also present to you a few people who are working around the passing, the funeral, the lying in state of Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI, but also those who have accompanied him, people who know him well, so-called experts on his life, on his theology. Joining me now is Vatican reporter and an expert also for everything that is happening here in Rome around the Vatican, Colm Flynn. Colm, you've been working here for quite a while now, and you've been speaking to a lot of people also in these days. But first of all, tell me, how did you experience just yesterday when we learned about the passing of Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI?
Well, I was actually talking to you on the phone. I was sitting in my favourite little coffee shop, Barnum, here in Rome, enjoying my breakfast. Of course, we knew that the news was imminent. It was going to happen at any moment, but you're still never prepared. And when you hear it, it's such a shock that even if it is an emeritus pope that's passed away. So I was sitting having my breakfast, and then I heard the news, and then you could hear kind of gasps as people showed each other their phones, and the news started to break in the coffee shop I was in. And then as I was round to the EWTN studio, to the office here, I heard some of the churches ringing their bells in kind of a somber tone, a somber way. And that's when you know the news then is kind of filtering across through all the people.
And I understand also you had to cancel or to quit your vacation, your holidays. You were, I think, back home in Ireland. Is that right? Coming here to Rome, was that difficult? A lot of people right now are worried also. Does it make sense to come to Rome? Will there be hotel rooms, etc.? How's the situation there?
My family were happy to see the back of me, Andreas, when I left early over Christmas. But like so many people working in the media, when you're at home and you hear news like this, you know, you hedge your bets. You think, well, I wait and enjoy the rest of my holiday at home with the family, and maybe I'll get back in time for when the news does break. But because of the news we were getting from the Vatican and the words of Pope Francis, the fact that Pope Francis went to visit him after the Wednesday general audience, I kind of had a feeling. I knew that this was going to be any moment now. So there was kind of an urgency to it. So I cut the family holiday in half, time-wise, and I came back to Rome. But I'm so glad I did, to be here for an event like this, to be able to pay your respect, to be able to meet the people who've come from all over. It is an incredible opportunity to be here at a time like this.
And tell me again, I understand that you, because you also know a lot of people here, you've already seen the Pope Emeritus, at least his body.
I couldn't believe it, Andreas, when I got a call today from a friend of mine who, Mountain is his name, he's the Catholic Traveller on Instagram, but he's very well connected at the Vatican, and he asked me, what are you doing at the moment? And I was up in the EWTN office, and he said, would you like to see the body of Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI? And I knew that the public will have an opportunity to see him over the next few days, starting from tomorrow morning in St. Peter's Basilica behind us. So I said, you mean tomorrow we can go and see him? He said, no, right now. And so just a few hours ago, Mountain and myself, we walked behind the beautiful St. Peter's Square there. We went up to the Vatican Gardens, and we went to visit the monastery where Pope Benedict has been living for the past 9 years, since he retired in 2013. There were very few people around. I couldn't believe it. You had a Swiss Guard in their plain clothes, not in their beautiful uniforms, but in suits. You had other private security there as well, working at the Vatican. A lot of nuns around, different types of sisters. I could tell they were from different parts of the world. Some were praying and vigil outside the door of the monastery. And it was so surreal, Andreas, to walk in and just turn a corner, and all of a sudden, in a small, humble room, there was the body of Pope Benedict laying there in rest. And there were a few benches right beside the body where you could kneel and pray. And I knelt down right at his feet. You could just, if you wanted to, reach out and touch his feet. And what can I say? It was surreal, it was incredible, and a great gift. It really was. A beautiful, peaceful atmosphere in the room as well. Nobody was praying out loud, nobody was talking, just very quiet, very serene. And again, incredible to be there.
A very personal experience then.
It still hasn't sunk in, I think, because it happened so quickly. I didn't have time to build up to it and kind of realise where I was going. I still didn't believe it until we were walking in past the Swiss Guard and we were on some sort of list and they said come through. I still didn't believe it when we were walking past the papal apartment where Pope Francis lives now. And I still didn't believe it walking past the papal train station all the way up through the papal gardens. It was when I saw the monastery. I'd never been there before, but I'd seen it on television or photographs, and I knew this was where the small, humble, converted monastery where Pope Benedict had been living with his aides. And when I saw it, I thought, oh my goodness, this is incredible. So going in and then seeing his body laying there in rest was just, it was amazing. I think it'll be maybe in the days to come when the hype dies down and all the busyness of what we're doing, then you'll realise, wow, that was a great privilege to be able to go in a very quiet moment.
Very happy for you. Great privilege also. What do we expect for the next days? How do you think this will continue here?
I think we're going to see a lot more people coming from all over the world. When I met certain people, I was struck, even before the death of the Pope was announced, I met some people from my home country of Ireland. I met some people from the United States who, as soon as they heard that he was sick, and these aren't people who work in the media or are here for a professional reason, they came purely for a religious, spiritual reason. They wanted to be close to Pope Benedict in his dying moments. And people, these are hardworking people who went out of the way to get expensive last-minute flights, to book hotels, to come here without a real plan, but just knowing they wanted to be close to the retired Pope. I found that very incredible, and such a show of strength of faith as well, that people will go that extra mile to come and be close, even just spiritually, to Pope Benedict. And then for the next few days, I think we're going to see a lot more people coming in from around the world. We'll see the squares start to fill up here behind us, especially as people go in to try and view the body of Pope Benedict. And then we will see, surely it will be a beautiful funeral, we hope, on the 5th.
And you've been also speaking to your colleagues, right, to journalists, because there are many faithful here now, there are many pilgrims, but of course also this is an event that has an impact on really a geopolitical impact, so to say, because a lot of people take notice when a Pope, also Pope Emeritus, dies. I mean, we have here CNN next to us, European outlets all around, and they're reporting on this. What is your sense there? What do the media, basically media professionals, how do they experience this event?
I think it is something that I think caught a lot of them off guard. I think a lot of them are geared up for the passing, whenever it does happen, please God, in a long time, of Pope Francis. So I think for the passing of Pope Benedict, a lot of them didn't have maybe a solid plan in place as to what to do or how to cover this. But then to see their coverage, of course, they're looking at a legacy that they would see as very divided, with the supporters and the retractors. And it's interesting to see that play out. Look at the Munich report they talk about recently as well. So I think, there's interest, maybe not the interest I would have thought there would be for Pope Benedict. I've noticed that a lot of crews are here, yes, but a lot of networks have been covering it from home. So rather than sending a network representative or a correspondent, perhaps I think they will for the actual funeral, but when the death was announced, a lot of them just covered it from the home base, from studio. But it depends on what country. Being from Austria, the German-speaking world.
That's much bigger.
Yeah, ZDF and ARD and the public broadcasters there will have a much greater interest. In other countries, probably the interest is not as strong and it won't be such a big headline story.
Yeah, actually we can't see it right now because it's behind the camera, but we can hear it. It's the construction, the scaffolding of the platforms they're building up here. EWTN will have a few studios up there, but also, as you said, the German television networks. And of course we're expecting state delegations from Italy and Germany to come and to be present also during the funeral. But again, that's the only official state delegation, so it's not such a big funeral, but more a simple one.
Yeah, and once a country starts sending high-level representatives, that's when networks start to get interested as well. Public service broadcasters have a remit to cover the travels of their state leaders or high-level governmental officials. So once they start coming here for the funeral, be it ambassadors, heads of state, ministers, then we'll see much more media interest that will have to cover that, who have a remit to cover that.
Well, for us at EWTN, this is a very, very, very important event. We're very grateful also to be able to be here and also to report for you, to take you with us a little bit here to St. Peter's Basilica. Tomorrow we will also be in the pool inside the Basilica, trying to also pay our own tributes to Pope Benedict, to Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI. Colm, thank you so much for being with us. I understand you will do much more here. You'll also be reporting from everything that is happening in the next coming days, and we're looking forward to seeing also your packages from that.
And one thing to point out before I go, Andres, is the incredible thing is that yesterday and today, they've been beautiful days. Absolutely incredible, beautiful days in terms of the weather, how fresh it is here in Rome. And I know when I was going up to see the body of Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI today, I met somebody and I was talking to them, and they commented on it is the beginning of a new year, that we are here. People have a chance to come in and be close to Pope Benedict over the next few days, and there's just something nice about the freshness and the beauty of the weather as well at the moment as well. I don't know, it's just, there's a nice feeling in the air. Somber atmosphere, of course, feeling of sorrow, but from what a lot of people have been saying to me, a gladness of that we had this Pope. We were lucky to have him with us and for him to be in the papacy from 2005 2013.
It does feel a little bit like spring, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does.
Thank you so much, Colm. Thank you for being here, and hopefully tomorrow you'll be also able to be here back again with more information and also covering this. Thank you.
Thank you, Andres.
And now we just have a quick update from our Vatican correspondent with a German background, Rudolf Gehrig, who has been on here several times now today and yesterday. Any news that we can report on?
Not really, except the news that it's for journalists maybe interesting. It's very complicated to get the accreditation to see the body of Pope Benedict, who will be there will be the public viewing tomorrow here in St. Peter's behind us. But there are a lot of spots where we can go there, and so I think we will also show our viewers and our readers on our different channels some amazing pictures maybe from the body of Josef Ratzinger. But there are more people right now coming from Germany and from all the countries that Pope Benedict influenced. Not even as not just only as a pope, but also as a theologian, as an author, as a writer. So I think Rome will be even more crowded these days, but
well, that's what we're expecting, right? Yeah. There will be many people coming. But let me ask you something, because you're from Germany, right? And I understand you're also from southern Germany, so not so far away from the birthplace of Josef Ratzinger, the later Pope Emeritus. How is it to grow up in Germany? What can you tell us also about the childhood maybe of Pope Emeritus?
Yeah, we're both born in the province of Bavaria, but I have to make this...
Which is quite a big province, one has to say.
Yes. But once I got the chance, it's a few years ago, then we from EWTN Germany, we wrote Christmas cards for Pope Benedict, and everybody of us wrote him a letter, and I wrote him and said, I'm from Franconia, you are from Bavaria. Franconia is a special part of Bavaria. We don't feel like we are Bavarians. And I told him, usually I don't like Bavarians, but you are the Pope, you're the Holy Father, and I make an exception for you. And then he responded 2 months later. So I was very touched by that. So what I can say is, I think we grew up maybe a bit similar in this religious environment, so very traditional Catholic, but in a traditional but simple way. So it's more, it's a Catholicism which is influenced by a lot of rituals and a lot of old traditions, and not even that much theology. That's maybe the huge impact that Pope Benedict now brings in.
Let me ask you this. We know from Archbishop Genswein, from an interview with him, that Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI was a big fan actually of Mother Angelica, the founders of this network. Do we know how she felt about having a TV station and also broadcasting in German, in the native language of Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI?
I think Martin Rothweiler, the founder of EWTN Germany, who is a good friend of Archbishop Georg Genswein, he can tell more about that. But as I remembered, when I started at EWTN 2013, there was a close relationship, and there's still... I don't know if Martin Rothweiler will maybe here talk more about it in the next days, but he received a letter from Pope Benedict after the resignation, and Pope Benedict after Pope Benedict resigned, and Pope Benedict encouraged EWTN, the whole network, to go on with the good work. I'm just quoting the Pope. He said that we are doing good work for the evangelization.
For the evangelization of the world, absolutely. And EWTN Germany will be broadcasting live here, also starting Tuesday, covering everything that is happening here in St. Peter's Square and St. Peter's Basilica. Also inviting a lot of guests, friends, speakers who can say more about Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI, about his theology, his thoughts, his ideas, but also about his life and the way he used to live his life. Rudolf, thank you so much for being with us. Thank you also for your insights and all the updates you have. I'm sure we'll see more of you tomorrow when there's more to tell. You'll be also in the Basilica, I assume, also paying your tributes to Pope Emeritus Benedict XVI. And it's now time to also say thank you for being with us online. We will be back tomorrow for right here live from St. Peter's Square. In Rome, Andreas Thonhauser, EWTN Vatican Bureau.